Hey familia, this is this is Luis. I am coming to you. It's like 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon on March 29th, and this post slash video is uh, about a week old. Well, a week behind. It's we're gonna deal today with the last city council meeting, which was on the 24th. I want to say last Monday or Tuesday. 24th was what? 24th was last Tuesday, and there was an emergency meeting to deal with one item. So we will be talking about that one item. Now that we are in the time of the Rona, COVID-19 is changing the way everybody does stuff. And so City Council took action to deal with how they're going to move forward in doing the work of the city. Similarly, we've been thinking about, or I've been thinking about how to similarly give out information during this time. A lot of it depends on how the city makes their stuff available, because I have to go online and find their stuff. So I'll be looking to see how they do, but also as far as bringing stuff forward. And so to that extent, I'm going to try and do more Zoom, because Zoom allows me to share documents on the screen. So when I talk about it, you can actually see what I'm talking about, as opposed to just me showing up a sheet and having you trust me that what I'm talking about is on that piece of paper. Firstly, on a more humane level, there's a lot of stuff happening in Hartford. It's been really great to see a city with not as many resources as the one that I currently reside in, and also Boston, doing the best they can and having a lot of people come together. I've seen very little like bickering amongst the usual suspects. And I think there are people out there trying to get as much information out there, and I'll try to point to those when I see them. One is that everybody should know that there is a mutual hub outside of the city structure. There's this mutual hub campaign, and I will share that website right now. And let me see, you should be seeing this. It's, excuse me. There's a national network called Mutual Aid Hub, and you can look for Hartford and see Hartford's right there. And you should be able to get into it to either link to, it's a Google Doc, and here it is. Oh, that's not true. That's not cool. It says Roxbury and or whatchamacallit, Jamaica Plain. Here we go. This is in Spanish, and it's a document basically saying how this group works and how you can either receive help and or give help. Again, it's mutualaidhub.org, and then you can look up Hartford. And I do know that they have a Venmo account if you want to give monies to the cause. And yeah, definitely take a look at that. Similarly, a number of city councilors have websites up, have Facebook presences up, and they're going to try and put out information in that way. And I've been able to find 5. Apologies to those who have it that I'm not aware of. Those are Wilda Luz Bermudez, Councilwoman Wilda Luz Bermudez, is facebook.com/Councilwoman Bermudez. The next one would be Councilman Nick Lebron, and that's facebook.com/Lebron4Council. And Councilman Lebron yesterday had a Facebook Live, and he left it, that's good, he left it shared on his page. So this is about 47 minutes of stuff here that he put out. So I highly recommend people going there to see what he had to say. Councilman Josh Michtom has a page, and that's facebook.com/Josh Mixum City Council. Council President Mali Rosado, I understand today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Madam President. Has a page as well. I should go ahead and like it. It's facebook.com/Rosado Mali. Don't worry about all this. You could just type this in and you get it. See how it says there, Rosado Mali? And the last one we were able to find is one for Councilman John Gale, and that is John Gale 2019. So facebook.com/John Gale 2019. So I encourage you, to the extent that you can, jump on those, like it. Maybe I should practice what I preach, liking that. And yeah, try to stay on top of what they say, because a lot of the changes that they've added, I don't think they really spelled out publicly how they're going to make access to city council meetings available. People have talked about remote and virtual meetings. I put up on I think on our page, an example, a link to how Boston has done it. I think they've done a really great job. But yeah, let's get right into it. One thing, again, there was one item up in last Tuesday's meeting, and that was, let's see, this one. Nope, hold on a second. Buddy, I can't. I told you. No problem. Love you. So it's this item. And this item is a resolution that was entertained and passed unanimously last Tuesday. This was from March 23rd, the item that was introduced. And this is great because I'm always saying, this is what a resolution looks like. This is what it entails, so we can actually see what it entails. In this case, it's a letter from Council President on City Council letterhead to Town Clerk Noel McGregor, saying, pursuant to Chapter 4, Section 5 of the Hartford City Charter, I hereby call an emergency meeting of the Court of Common Council to be held, for considering the following items of business. In this case, it was one thing. Now, keep in mind when this happens, because it's outside the norm. Normally, what happens is the city clerk dispatches police to each city council member's home and serves them with the documentation saying, yes, that there is a special meeting. This is a practice that I think is still had. It's kind of antiquated in this day and age of email and stuff like that. So, but at least when I was on, every time we had a special meeting like this, we did get a visit by a cop, and with a letter serving us with this. So the actual thing in it, there's always like a date stamp. This is stamped March 24th at 12:45 a.m. So woo, Town and City Clerk working late. And then this is the agenda. One agenda saying from Council President Rosado with accompanying resolution to be held, considering the change, after all this, is to consider the change in council rules. This is the resolution. The resolution is 4 pages long. And let's take a look at the resolution. Like I mentioned before, resolution is made up of what you want to do along with the reasons you want to do it. The reasons are always put forth first, and then what you want to do. In this case, the reasons are spelled out as whereases. So you'll see a lot of this, whereas this, whereas that, whereas this. And you can see it as we look through. They're setting the case for what they're about to do. And this all has to do with COVID-19, right? This is the big one right here, because whereas on March 14th, Governor Lamont issued Executive Order number 7B, which states suspension of in-person open meeting required sections, and that's the section and any open meeting provision of any municipal charter, ordinance, or regulation that conflicts with this order are suspended to the extent necessary to permit any public agency to meet and take such actions authorized by the law without permitting or requiring in person. So basically, he's allowing municipalities, he's suspending blanket-wise anything that says that is a policy saying you need to get together in person. He's saying all those are suspended for the time being. Then he's stating how, but that we still, at the need to make those meetings available to the public. And I think that's what's spelled out here. Without permitting or requiring in-person public access to such meetings, and to hold such meetings or proceedings remotely by conference call, video conference, or other technology, provided that the public has the ability. So this is the part, it's saying that you can do this, hold meetings or proceedings by conference call, video conference, or other technology, but you gotta make the public has the ability to view or listen to each meeting or proceeding in real time by telephone, video, or other technology. Any such meeting or proceeding is recorded or transcribed, and such recordings or transcripts shall be posted on the agency's website within 7 days of the meeting and made available within reasonable time in the agency's office. The required notice and agenda for each meeting or proceeding is posted on the agency's website and shall include information about how the meeting will be conducted and how the public can access this. Any materials relevant to the matters on the agenda, including but not limited to materials related to specific applications, if applicable, shall be submitted to the agency a minimum of 24 hours prior and posted to the agency's website for public inspection. So here, that's a lot, right? They have to make this available for us to consume, but they have to post it on their website within 24 hours, both the agenda plus any, like the agenda we normally get, right? The big packet, they have to put it on the website and they have to make it available to us within 24 hours. Keep in mind, this is a dramatic shortness from what it had been before. The agenda was created on that Wednesday before the meeting. So theoretically, if you were part of that email group that received it, you would get it like Thursday maybe. So you'd have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4 days before the Monday, which is the 5th day. Here they're saying you gotta have it at least 24 hours in it. So already we're getting stuff not, just a day before and expected to like react to it within a day. But keep in mind, this is the context from which they're going to be doing all this. They're going to refer to in the resolves to 7B a lot. And then it goes, whereas March 17th, Mayor Luke Boney declared a state of emergency, whereas on March 19th. So again, stating the case, whereas these are the meeting sections that they will be dealing with, that they're looking to change. So they're saying that whereas Chapter 4 of the Charter of the City of Hartford provides, so this is what the charter provides, whereas because of this, COVID-19, whereas we still got to work as a legislative arm, so on and so forth. Now, therefore, be it resolved. And here is where it's basically stating what they're going to do. So I found a copy of the old council rules because the new council rules are not online, or they've already taken them off. These are the old council rules. And similarly, I don't think much has changed from these except for down here where it has like the standing committees. That's definitely changed because they've, I think, took away one, so on and so forth. So we'll go back and forth on these so we can understand them a little better. So the provision of Council Rule 1 requiring 2 meetings a month, except for July and August, is suspended. Again, they make reference to Council Rule 1, and keep in mind, here it goes. Pursuant to Chapter 4, Section 5 of the Charter, the Council shall meet regularly on the 2nd and 4th Monday of each Monday, except July and August, right? So that rule is suspended as of now. The required meeting each month pursuant to the charter will be conducted pursuant to Executive Order of Governor Lamont number 7B, including a council member wishing to speak under Council Rule 4 shall, after gaining the presiding officer's censure, clearly state their name and title. I don't know what that means, but let's look at what Council Rule 4 says. When any member desires to speak, he or she shall raise his or her hand to draw their attention. So this is just regular parliamentary the notice of how to conduct yourself during a meeting, to be recognized by the president, so who's normally chairs the meeting. So I think this is just saying that they will hold one meeting a month. So the required meeting, one meeting, will be conducted pursuant. So they're going to do it under Governor Lamont's rule of like submitting the agenda beforehand, so on and so forth. Bullet 3, whether the council itself physically meets or not shall be at the discretion of the city council president, providing that a requirement in Rule 2 that in order to constitute a quorum, 5 members must be physically present is suspended. So the president is the only one that can call the meeting, and it is, if we go to Rule 2, a quorum will consist at least 5 members of council who shall be present at the designated meeting location. This is the part they're saying is suspended. This whole shall be present at the designated meeting location. So I think if this is saying that once the council president calls for that meeting, some people can go in remotely, some people can be physically, it could be all remotely. You don't need to be at the same place at the same time. The provision of Rule 2 that allows a council member to be present electronically but not vote on a matter before the council is hereby suspended. Rule 2 says that you can participate, may be present by electronic means, but will be prohibited from casting a vote. That is suspended. So you can cast a vote if you're there electronically. The provisions of Rule 9 establishing standing committees of the council are hereby suspended. Again, Rule 9, it might be different on this one or not. Yeah, Rule 9 is the same. Standing committees, again, these committees might be different. The order might be different on the new whatchamacallit rules, but this is suspended. Why? Because now, during the duration of this emergency, resolutions, ordinances, or other matters before the city council will not be referred to committees, but will be the work of the entire council or the committee of the whole. That means they're gonna look at everything as a council, deliberate as a council, vote as a council. The provision of Rule 10 with respect to discharging a matter from committee is hereby suspended. Rule 10 states that by vote of 5 members of council or with the consent of the committee chairperson, a committee may be discharged. A committee may be discharged from reporting or acting upon an item. This is all suspended. This, I don't know if they need to suspend it because you can still just act on it, but basically anything that right now is in committee will now officially be seen by the council. There will be no step to like vote to take it. It's just like anything that had been referred that a committee had not seen is now going to be seen by the whole council. Keep in mind, as an aside, the committee process, once something is referred to committee, it's seen at committee. That can be like 2 meetings, right? Everyone who has something to do with that item will come, they'll speak, there might be questions, they might hold it up for another meeting and then discharge it. So that might take, normally that would be like a 2-month thing, or like depending on when the timing of a committee and when the next city council meeting happens. But if the city council is only meeting once a month and they're seeing items from all these different council committees, theoretically you're looking at things taking longer, right? It's introduced on month 1. During that, if they don't get to talk about it, they might talk about it in the next meeting. That's already the 2nd meeting. And if they have questions still from that discussion, it'll go for another meeting, and that'll be month 3, forbidding that this actually goes that long, right? discharge. With requirements of Rule 11, with respect to the committee of the whole, will be maintained except that all public hearings and public participation will be held consistent with Governor Lamont's Executive Order number 7B. Let's go back to 7B. 7B, as they mentioned up here. What do they say? All speakers taking part in any such meeting or proceeding shall clearly state, you know what, it's not, although it's say consistent with 7B, 7B doesn't speak to specifically how people can give feedback. And as I mentioned before, when you only have 24 hours to submit, that can be a challenge, right? Like if you receive it, it'll be really difficult to receive, to get feedback unless you get it immediately. As a populace, you see something, you put it out, you have opinions on it, and then you're expected to like email or want to be a part of that discussion. I really don't know how they're going to deal with like public comment if they're not having physical meetings, but hopefully someone can answer that. Where am I? No, these are still the same rules, sorry. So come back here to the resolves. This was fit. And then the next couple are with the mayor, right? Well, let's read it. When a nomination has been made by the mayor for the position of this, and this, the council president shall convene a meeting of the council of the whole within 15 days of the nomination, and that nominee will be invited to appear and be heard, may be satisfied under the provisions of Executive Order number 7B. So they're saying they're going to hold monthly meetings, but if the mayor during this time appoints someone within this department head, chief operating officer, or corporation counsel, so any of these three, then this council president shall, and that's the thing about shall, that means you got to do it, shall convene, as opposed to, you'll see resolutions that say may, that's like, you can do it, but you don't have to. Shall is you got to do it. Has to convene a meeting of the council of the whole within 15 days to deal with that nomination. Not the same for committees or task forces. The provision of Rule 11 allowing mayoral nomination to any board or commission to be referred to a standing committee is hereby suspended, and such nomination shall be considered again by the committee of the whole, which is the city council. The provisions of Rule 15 with respect to the process for amending the current council rules is hereby suspended. So Rule 15, amendments to these rules shall be submitted in writing at any meeting of the council and shall be adopted only by the affirmative vote of at least 5 members of the council no later than the second succeeding regular meeting. And that was this was rules submitted in writing to the clerk and voted upon in this case last week. All other provisions of the council rules as adopted by the Court of Common Council shall remain in effect. And then it takes effect the second it's voted upon. And that's it. It's pretty, again, there's no specifics, but they don't need to get into specifics. Now, one thing I heard from City Council President Mali Rosado was that there was, that they will have opportunities for people to participate, at least that we need to see it, right? That's a part of the Governor Lamont's order. But we're hoping to get more information on that. Similarly, hopefully this worked. I'm at the tail end of this. One thing that I'm going to try to do is ask different council people and city people, not necessarily from the municipality, but others who are acting as agents for change and accountability, to interview, like if I can do one-on-one interviews with people just to ask questions. I'm hoping to be able to do that, to provide that sort of service. So I am looking to to sit with virtually with some city council people, and hoping that Councilman Lebron would be willing to be the first one. Nick, not to put you on the spot. I'll give you a holler. Pero no, I hope this helps. Any questions, hit me up. I'm going to put I think I'm able to record this, and we'll see what happens. And then I also created a new Facebook presence. It's a Facebook page and not a Facebook group, still called After the Clouds. And yeah, let's see, everyone stay safe, everyone stay inside. Currently, what we're doing is, I say this, and I separately might go for a walk in the morning. Mercy will go, and then I'll go just to get some air. And then we allow ourselves one trip in the afternoon for stuff that we might need. But for the most part, we're in house 22 hours, right? With Angel, who's playing his games. During the week, we're trying to homeschool. Everyone's in the same thing, right? Right now, I'm in the kitchen. You saw him come through a couple of times, but no, I appreciate the time that you're putting in and listening to this. Hopefully it's helpful. And Ina, I'll just say that's it. And thank you. Peace.